Hey guys, today we're going to go over a quick review of place value from the ones place to the millions place. So what is place value? Place value simply shows us what each digit in a number represents. In the below number, if I didn't know what place value was, I would just read this number as 1, 2, 5, 3, 6, 7. That number has absolutely no meaning. It doesn't tell me if there's a number greater than or less than this number. It just doesn't tell us anything. So place value is important because it gives meaning to a number. It will also be important in the future as you do more and more math operations. It will help you understand why you're doing what you're doing or how you're solving the problem. So it gives meaning and understanding. Okay, so place value. So this number is 1,583,429. So when I read a number, I read it from left to right, just like I read anything else. But in order to read that number, I have to know what each digit in the number represents. To do that, I start with my right and I work from right to left. So I read from left to right, but I determine place value from right to left. So the furthest number I have to the right that doesn't have any more numbers after it, in this case is my 9, is my ones place value. 1 over is my tens, 1 to the left is my hundreds. Then I have a comma. I move over a number, I have my thousands, my 10,000s, my 100,000s, a comma, and 1 over is my millions. So place value is broken up into groups of 3 numbers. You can see I have 3 numbers and I break it with a comma. Then I have 3 more numbers, I have a comma, and then this would have 3 numbers if I were to continue going. You can see a pattern in my groups. I have my ones, tens, and hundreds. This is my ones group. It's labeled right here with ones. This is my thousands group. It's labeled right here with thousands. And then I have my 10,000s, corresponds to my tens place in my ones group. Then I have my hundreds thousands, which also corresponds to the hundreds place value in my ones group. So every time you're going to have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. We were to keep going, it'd be millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. Okay, so every time I have a number, it can be given to me or I can write it in standard form, expanded form, and written form. So standard form is just the basic number that you see. So this number, 1,583,429, is already in its standard form. So my standard form here is 1,583,429. That's my standard form. It's just the most basic or most standard way that you see a number written. So my expanded form is when I take that number and I break it into groups of numbers by place value. So for example, I would start with my 1. My 1 is in my millions place. So I would write the number 1 million. 1 million has a 1 and 6 zeros behind it. So one thing I can look at here is I have my 1 and then I can count the number of digits I have to the right of my 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's how many zeros I add. Then I add a plus sign. Then I'm going to add my next number, which is a 5. And I'm going to do the same thing. The easiest way to me is count how many digits I have to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to add that many zeros behind my number. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm come in and I'm going to count 3 numbers over. I'm going to add my comma. Okay, then plus I have my 8. So I'm going to write my 8. Count the number of digits I have to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And add my 4 zeros. Okay, that's 8,000. And add my comma plus 3. Count my zeros to the right of the 3, which is 3, 2, 3. Add my comma, plus sign. Have a 4 with 2 digits to the right, which means I'm going to add 2 zeros, plus my 2, 1 digit to the right, so I'm going to add 1 0, plus my 9. And then as you can see, my 9 is in my ones column. There's no numbers to the right of it, so I just add a 9. So my expanded form becomes 1 million plus 500,000 plus 8,000. I'm sorry, guys, that's supposed to be 80,000 plus 80,000 plus 3,000 plus 400 plus 20 plus 9. I've taken this number and I've broken it into groups of numbers by place value. That's my expanded form. Okay, and then my written form is where I write the words for how I say this number. So it becomes 1,583,429. So I'm literally writing the words for how I say the number. Okay, so practice. This is your turn. If you're given the number 852,163, I'm going to ask you to write it in a few different forms, and you're going to try to write it on a sheet of paper. Pause the video, write it on a sheet of paper, and then come back to the video to see if you got it right. So this number, how would you write it in expanded form? This number would become 800,000 plus 50,000 plus 2,000 plus 100 plus 60 plus 3. Remember, I start with my number to the left, 8, and then I'm going to count how many digits are after that 8, which is 5, and that's how many zeros I'm going to add, plus my next number's 5. How many zeros to the right? 4. Or numbers to the right is 4, so I'm going to add 4 zeros, and I'm going to continue doing that till I get to my ones place value. Okay, so how do you write the number 852,163 in written form? You're going to write it just like you say it, 852,163. Written form is when you write the words of what you're saying. Okay, so this one, you're given the number in written form, 10,525. How are you going to write this in standard form? Okay, to write this in standard form, 10,525. So one thing that you can do is you can go ahead, the next one's going to say write it in expanded form. So go ahead and do that. When you write it in expanded form, you write 10,000 plus 500 plus 20 plus 5. I take each number, and when it's given to you in written form, it's really easy because you take each number, 10,000, and you write 10,000. Plus 500, you write 500. Plus 20, you write 20. 5, 5. So expanded form and written form correlate really well. But when you've written your number like this, to put it back into standard form, which is what we just did, you just kind of compress it. So you take out all your extra zeros and you compress it back down to your standard form right here. Okay, moving on. So if you're given this number, which is in expanded form, 4,000 plus 800 plus 70 plus 9, write it in standard form. So remember, to do this, we're going to take out our zeros and compress the numbers down, and we end up getting 4,879. So just a little bit more practice. I'm going to give you several numbers, and then what is the place value of the underlined number? So in this one, our 0 is underlined. To determine, I've already given you the answer, but to determine what it is, remember I'm going to start at the right, and I'm going to work my way to the left till I get the number that's underlined. So I have my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. That gives me my thousands place. Okay, my next number. I have the 2 underlined, but what number is that? So I'm going to start at the right number, and I'm going to work my way over. So I have my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and million. So that's how I got the answer for millions place. This one, my 3's underlined. Once again, I'm going to start at my right number, my most right number. I'm going to count over. So I have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So that's how I came up with 10,000s. And then lastly, my 2 is the underlined number, which was also the underlined number up here, but see how they're different. This is not the same number as this. So I'm going to start with my right number again, count over 1, 10, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So this 2 is in the 100,000s place value, whereas this 2 was in the millions place value. Do you see the difference? I had an extra comma and a number. See the difference? This one has 7 numbers. This one only has 6 numbers. Okay, so some fun practice for you, it's not required, but it's something that you could go do, is to create a hopscotch outside with the following numbers, putting them in extended form. So more than likely you've played hopscotch at some point before, and there's a good chance you've made several hopscotches even over the past few weeks. But in a typical hopscotch, remember, you draw your squares like I've shown over here to the right, and you would typically write 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would label each square with a new number for however long you want your hopscotch. What I want you to do in this example, or to go practice, is to write the number 522,113 in expanded form. So you're going to write 500,000 in the first square, 20,000 in the second square, 2,000 in the next, then 100, then 10, then 3. See how you wrote this number and in its expanded form in the hopscotch? So I want you to do that for practice, just for fun. It's not required, but if you would like to practice and have fun, I want you to write each of these 4 numbers in expanded form in a hopscotch. So I want you to make that hopscotch and then have fun jumping on it, asking some friends to play with you if you're able. I know right now we may not be able to play with friends outside, but if you're able, or if you have a family member, a sibling that you can play hopscotch with, I want you to do this and see how many numbers you can write in expanded form. Once you get this done, if you want to come up with more numbers to do, that would be a great idea, and you can do that. But for right now, thanks for listening to me, and I hope to see you in the future with some more videos. Bye.